Hello. I don't think I'll be able to go on a live stream tonight. There's actually a huge swath across the entire United States where services are down, and I was looking at outage maps and YouTube and various spots across the country. From what I could tell, even in parts of Europe is down, and AT&T and Verizon, and it's just spotty. And it's down. I mean, it's really down. I actually, of course, was born in '72. I grew up without the internet, and grew up without cell phones. And no, you don't need those things. I know a lot of younger people basically feel like they can't breathe without the internet. But it's kind of interesting, because I was going to make a video about this. I don't think I'll be able to upload it tonight. I could actually use my phone for uploading this video, but still it's like about 4 gigabytes. I'll wait till I'm able to upload it. I wanted to talk about something serious in this video. By the way, before I do that, I wanted to mention a couple things. I think my ex-girlfriend was lonely. I shouldn't have taken her call, but I'm a really nice guy. It was about a week or so ago, and she said she's heading back to Hong Kong. I was like, oh, how you doing? You know, hope you're doing all well, stuff like that. Never going to see her again, which is a great thing. And she's going back to Hong Kong for her mother's funeral, who is in perfect, super excellent health. But she told me her evil sister over there talked her mother into getting the magic juice, and that her mother was came into her house from doing a grocery run and literally completely dropped dead right on her feet, just like a light, over with. So you can say that's anecdotal. The only problem is that I've heard countless thousands of anecdotes like that before. There's another guy who's a submariner, retired. He sent me out a letter talking about saving the life of his loved one, that she was only given a couple weeks to live. And he heard me mention something, and I'm not going to use the words, but I'll let you take a guess. And he gave that to his wife, and all of a sudden she's, you know, hopping around. So she went from 2 weeks left to live to, I'm not going to give you the details on that, because then I'd be accused of giving out information on something that's not proven to do what people say. But it's kind of interesting. He wanted to thank me. I've had countless things like that's where the internet's a great thing. You can actually help anybody out there. Like I said, I don't have to be a fireman to point at a fire and say that's a fire. You know, well, you're not an expert. You're not a fireman. Yeah, I don't have to be. That's a fire over there, right? A lot of people have been doing that the past few years. I just wanted to talk about that. And one other thing. I 100% knew, look at my eyes and tell me if I'm telling the truth, 100% knew this would happen. I don't know if you know this or not, but the last Apollo mission was 1972, the year I was born, and the first ones were many years prior to that. First one, Apollo 11, of course, and, you know, very complicated. They have living creatures in there. I'm not saying that didn't happen, so don't accuse me of something I'm not saying. Complicated life support systems, on and on and on. And you know, got everybody back. And I don't know if you know that or not, but humorously, those Apollo landers were running on less memory. I have this little air fryer. It's called like a Ninja in my kitchen. You open up the drawer and you put in your frozen pizza. Yeah, that Ninja, which has got a little dial on it for, you know, telling it if you're going to cook pizza or bread. And there is more memory in that, way more memory in that than there is in the Apollo landers. I don't know if you know that or not. What was it running on? Like 62 kilobytes of memory? I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically nothing. So the I don't know if you know this or not, they lied to everybody. The Odysseus lunar lander that was landing on the south pole of the moon, they lied to the entire world. Hey, it landed successfully. We'll get you pictures tomorrow. Yay! They lied to the whole world. And when I heard that, I was 100% certain it would crash. You know, there'd be some sort of serious issue where it would crash. And when I heard that it landed successfully, well, I thought, well, that's fine. You know, I was wrong. But it turns out I was 100% right, because I don't know if they actually said that to give a certain people with stock options in that company. People say, well, it was a private company that launched it. The navigation, the guidance, all this, it was all run by NASA. I know that that lunar mission was private, but it was, you know, all the advanced technology and the consultation. So because I'm 51 years old, 51 years later, that was the last Apollo mission. You know, flawlessly, way more complicated with living creatures inside, human beings, right? You know, that's all successful. But today, I'm sure that thing probably had like 128 gig of RAM in it. Like a gazillion times more than any of the Apollo missions. Most advanced technology, you know, 51 years later. Actually, we just go back to Apollo 11. 60 years later, what was it, 60 years or 64 years, the first Apollo 11? I can't remember the exact date, 64, 68, sorry, I can't remember that. Way more advanced technology, a gazillion more memory. I knew it would crash. I'm not going to put two and two there together, because then I'd be accused of saying something that I didn't actually say, but I'll let you do that. There's so many people that are lying to us. This is actually a serious warning video. I really wanted to talk about those things. I really wanted to make a funny video about the Odysseus lunar lander crashing. It crashed and it's sitting on its side, and I think they're still, well, it's still alive, it's on its side. They're currently saying that, but they totally lied to us to begin with. Yeah, it landed successfully, we'll start getting you pictures here. Apparently it's laying on its antenna. And it crashed and it's laying on its side. I'll let you absorb that fact. I was 100% right. I knew it would crash. I just knew it. Well, how's that possible? It's 51 years later. You got much more advanced technology than back. Of course it... No. It'll fail. Yeah. Yeah. The plausibility of all those things, the 60s and the 70s versus the super advanced piece of technology. I knew it would crash. I knew it would crash. I was right. This right now, everybody's, and I'm seeing a whole lot of lies and contradictory information. They keep saying 70,000 people were out and it was AT&T. Well, it was not just AT&T, and I know a lot about cellular, believe it or not. A lot of other networks like T-Mobile and other entities, they don't have their own cell phone towers. They buy and rent off of others. They buy time. So T-Mobile using AT&T's network, and even Verizon in some instances, as long as they're paying for it, none of these companies really care, we're out. And they keep saying like 70,000. Well, it actually had to be something like 70 million, or God knows how many millions. Everybody is lying to us. Everybody, including AT&T, they're lying. They say, well, we're going to give everybody a $5 refund on their next cell phone bill, which whoop-de-doo, right? They keep saying, oh, there's a line of code in there when we were doing an update on our system and our firmware. And does anybody believe that? It wasn't 70,000. It was way, way more than. I asked a lot of people here in just this town. Basically, everybody had an issue. Even the FedEx guy said his network device for contacting FedEx was out. My buddies at the surplus store, their phones were out, and not all of theirs were AT&T. A lot of landline. We're telling people, well, just use your landline instead. Well, here's the big lie about that, and here's a perfect example. Is my parents. They have a landline, but even the landline goes through the cellular networks. It's not like an old landline where it was hardwired into a hub like old Ma Bell, literal physical wires only. Most landlines today are not landlines. I don't know if you know that or not. You can go look that up, but it's true. Hardwired landlines are few and far between now. There's a reason for that. I'll let you waste time looking up all the details on there. Say, well, if you have an issue contacting emergency services or something, just use your landline. Well, my parents' landline, just one example among countless, endless millions, is not actually a landline. Yes, the landline's not actually a landline. So I couldn't contact them. They're not that far away. I know they were okay and everything like that. This begs the old question that people unfortunately used to monger the fear with. Say, what happens when you call services and no one's there to answer? And that's becoming very real. Now, this is anecdotal from my side. I've had more internet outages in the past less than a year than I have in all years combined. Every year combined in total adds up to way less than just the past year for me. And I'm not living in any backwoods, hick town here. No, this is a college town with a lot of advanced services. But I know, unlike most people, who think, well, anything bad, I can go to the grocery store and get food, or got a problem, I can just pick up my cell phone. I think most of the world really is living like a mushroom. I don't know if you know how mushrooms live, but you feed them poop and you keep them in the dark. And that's exactly what a lot of entities, GOVT being number one, they have no idea society is the thinnest crust over top of the most powerful volcano imaginable, the thinnest crust. I've had a lot of you people tell me that you're telling your family what's going on, and they say, they refuse to see it. My own mother, my own sister and brother, they refuse to see it. Well, these people are sheep to the mirage of authority. And of course, authority is a fallacy in a formal debate. Some people are literally so blind that they will deny, for example, analogously, they'll deny that like gorillas exist until a giant one's sitting on top of their head. And even then, there's an enormous amount of people, human beings, unfortunately, will deny it. That even then, it's like, we know the gorilla that you deny is sitting right on top of your head. I still don't believe in him. These people, I hate to say it, are literally, the affront and the enemy to humanity. A lot of the people that you thought that were there to protect you are doing not only no protecting, they're doing the opposite. I'm not picking on nurses, for example, but look at the great evil that the nurses did. They were complicit with evil. An enormous number of them were this past year. Well, I want to keep my job. I got a family to feed. Yes, you do. There's an enormous amount of nurses, and they know it's true because I've had nurses confirm it to me. Sometimes they're ashamed of what they did, or sometimes they didn't do it, but they pointed out all their nurse buddies did it. It's like, I'm not going along with that. They were literally like the right hand of Satan. Aren't the nurses supposed to... There's one example among countless. I don't know if you heard about this up in Canada. They're trying to get this. It's called Bill C-372. It's called Fossil Fuel Advertising Act. If you're Canadian and you're speaking well, speaking good of oil or gas or anything like that, I support my brother who works in the oil fields. Bumper stickers or saying on social media, they can face up to 2 years in jail and up to, I forget how many, tens of thousands of dollars of fines for speaking well of the oil and gas industry. If there has ever been a more clear-cut example, once again, what the heck is going on with you? I actually know the answer to this question, but I love to hear you say it anyway. I know what's going on. What is wrong with, I'm not picking on Canadians. I get along great with Canadians. What is wrong with you guys? Everybody keeps pointing out all the evils in the world. I keep seeing this, even from people that I kind of respect. They'll point out, well, there's this evil, and there's this person pushing this evil, and there's this entity pushing that evil. But the great evil is not the evil itself, which is bad enough. It's the fact that people are going, well, what am I going to do about it? What you going to? I'm not going to do about it. I'm just going to go along with it. I'm too busy to do anything about it. They're being complicit with what's going on. I'm hoping most of you are not. I'm certainly not. People don't believe that something can happen until it already has in most instances. It's not stupidity or weakness, one person said, it's just human nature. Well, you just basically said it's not stupidity or weakness, it's stupidity and weakness. Human nature, I hate to say it, is weakness and fundamental ignorance at its very core. Those with wisdom and insight, see the furthest. They make preparations, and Right now, and I've been watching the map and refreshing it every hour, and this is going on. And this will be over within 24 hours or less even. But the outages are spreading. Cellular networks are down in splotchy areas across the United States. So several people I've tried to contact. I can't get a hold of them, and I know it's not because they're busy or they're on the other line. I can't get a hold of them. Right now there's something, and I've talked about this before, but it seems to be ramping up. They really want to destroy the housing market. The handful of things that make people feel safe and feel confident so that they're not, running around in circles like a dog chasing its tail in fear is their own house. I've had so many, I always hang up on them. I usually don't pick up the phone. I say, I just rent this house, which is a total lie. Why would I tell the truth to any of these demons trying to buy my house? There is a spreading evil that's going on right now of housing and crime and economic collapse. And if you can't see it, I mean, you're either way too busy, and I admit it. I mean, I can't imagine how some of you do it. I mean, you have a wife and the kids and a house payment and a car payment and busy, busy, busy. I mean, you just work really hard, come home, kiss the wife and kids, fix some dinner, take out the garbage, do the laundry, go to bed, rinse and repeat. And you can't see what's going on, and that's the whole plan. This is all going perfectly according to plan, but it's not the plan that you want, and it's certainly not the plan that I want. I'm begging you, I mean this literally, because, what am I getting from this? I'm not selling you like any water filtration or battery equipment or anything like that. To please prepare. I call this hopping from pad to pad. The one thing that's really dangerous for anybody in life is if they don't have the opportunity to pause, take a look at every option that's going on, like a frog leaping from, pad to pad. A lot of people are they're being forced, like, well, got like $30 left in my checking account. I'm going to do something desperate and sell this valuable thing that I own that I don't want to sell, but, you got to feed the kids, got to pay the utility bills. The same thing is coming true of them trying to take our houses and increase taxes. And a lot of Americans that I talk to were looking at what's going on in Australia over the past few years and the absolute ludicrous craziness that's going on up in Kanakistan. Yeah, kind of funny, I know. And we're just like, well, it's Canada, A lot of people, and I know that recession is starting. They announced it in the UK that recession has already started in UK. I've heard from Brits and they've known they were in recession for a long time. Right now, of course, since this is an election year, and I'm using air quotes, I'll let you guess the reason why, is that they're trying to pump up the economy to keep a massive collapse from happening. Because when you're actually pumping tons of money into the economy, the government is that it staves off this inevitable collapse. Every indication says that there is an economic collapse coming in the United States. It's absolutely going to be, mind-blowing. And that is no type of fear or pushing of fear at all. I just want people to be prepared. I've had a saying most of my life that goes, get it while you can get it. And I have a sixth sense on some things that I've never been wrong about. Land is one of them, a few other things I won't mention that I've never been wrong on purchasing. I mean, I'm just begging you, if you have any funds at all, to get water filtration, some solar panels, and some large batteries, so that you're not put into a position where you have to capitulate to evil in any way, shape, or form. Some tools, I mean, this is not Little House on the Prairie, but I mean, if you could take care of immediate needs, to keep yourself fed, to keep some power and keep yourself informed, to keep your head on a swivel. A lot of people, unfortunately, we're dealing with, like I said, these are people that are, the adversary to humanity itself. I call them mental zombies. Some people call them sheep. These people are so bad, they're actually, in many ways, worse than the evil itself, because what they will do is so that the evil can get to you, is that these people, these mental zombies, these are the people that will hold you down while somebody else is, committing the evil upon you, us, we. And in many ways, that's worse. I understand evil, what it is, why it is, how it is. I understand it way better than most people do. But these people are complicit with it. These are the idol worshippers, really, in almost a literal sense. They are complicit and capitulate to it. They serve it like an evil, a golden calf. If in their crazy mind they think the golden calf, wants them to go out to their neighbor's house and hold them down and, wreak havoc in their lives in every way, shape, or form. They'll be the ones that do that. And in such instances, they are actually worse than the evil itself. That's the creeping evil nobody talks about, like these nurses. And I'm not picking on every nurse, but once again, there's an enormous amount of nurses and a tremendous amount of doctors that are, come on, man, safe and effective. Come on, man. Remember that one? These people have been the right hand of evil, the right hand of Satan. I fully advocate shunning such people, never giving them the time of day again for the rest of my life. I know who these people are. This idea of forgive and forget, that belongs to your family for minor infractions. You do as you see fit. I certainly don't ever tell anybody what to do. It's none of my business. I love it when I help people like the guy that sent me the email last night. When you save somebody's life, that is awesome. Getting back to the cellular outage that occurred just a few days ago, we've been lied to so much. It is not a line of code for a firmware upgrade in the network system like they've been saying. It affected an enormous swath. And I know about T-Mobile using Verizon's hardware. I know about that kind of stuff. But it wasn't 70,000. If anything, it was 70 million. I don't know what the exact number is. I don't presume to speculate. This is going on right now, and I know this will be fixed probably by this evening. I'm only guessing. Could be not solved until tomorrow. I'll miss live stream, which is unfortunate, but I'm strongly advocating my friends, who I won't mention, to get, we all have these are UHF, VHF transceivers. They only reach so far. Is to get an HF transceiver rig. I wished I still had my ICOM 706 Mark II-G. Yes, I know you need ham licenses for these. I know about all that stuff. Know a lot about antennas, but this lets you communicate globally and also, too, listen in onto a lot of stuff. Things that require networks. I don't know if you know what a network is, but it's not, when you're talking about ham radio, and ham radio is dead, I know that, unfortunately. The only thing you need is the skills and the knowledge to operate the equipment, which I have, a proper antenna and its proper placement, and the HF transceiving rig and a sufficient power supply. That sounds like a lot, and it kind of is, but not really. But it means you're not reliant upon networks. I don't care if you have $1,000 prepaid on your Verizon account. If the networks get interjected with a line of code, or you're worried about, is this due to solar flares? It could be. I don't know if that's true or not on the networks going down a few days ago. The indications, the outliers of what was affected, and it was a broad swath of what was affected, including what's happening right now. If you actually check on an enormous amount of services like YouTube, Disney, not that I care about Disney, nor do I have it, Disney, AT&T, on and on and on and on. A large number of entities that rely on the internet, their networks are down. What was this hacking? I have no idea. I refuse to speculate on that. I don't like speculation unless it's a very intelligent speculation. If I can smell smoke and there's an orange light in the window, I don't need to have strong hard evidence that there's probably a fire in a house. I don't have to go that far. Some people, they need it to literally smack them right, be right here before they'll acknowledge something. Kind of like the person's got a gorilla sitting. It's like, you don't believe in gorillas? There's a gorilla sitting on your head right now. I still don't believe in gorillas. Analogously, okay? There are a lot of people out there like that, and they're totally blind. They're myopic. They're like Mr. Magoo, who's always running into things. It's a cartoon character that was blind, but he thought he could see. I can see fine! It's like, no, you can't, you're blind. If you have any credence in anything I say one way or another, and I'm not running a popularity contest, I beg you to prepare yourself into whatever level you're capable of. You don't even have to have money. If you got XYZ skills, you can partner up with somebody who's like, hey, you know, I don't have the money for my own farm or cabin in the woods stocked up full of supplies, but I have this service, and I'm willing to join your community, and these are the services I have to offer. Consider that. A lot of people say, I don't have the money to have a farm in the woods and a cabin in the woods like you do. I'm not a person of any money. I don't have, of course, I don't have a wife or kids either, and my house is paid for, my truck is paid for, but, you know, I live very tight, and the IRS has basically robbed me, and we could talk about them, but I'm not going to. We all know how evil they are. By the way, did you see the new James O'Keefe interview? It was an undercover interview with an agent. I suggest you go take a look at that. It's a good one. Every evil thing we ever assumed about that agency turns out to be true from a person on the inside, which wasn't a shocker to me at all. Water filtration, solar, batteries, you know, charge controller, power inverter, some necessary tools. And I beg you to, well, I'm going to buy some silver and stick it in my safe. Well, that's the metals of commerce. I've never heard anybody else talk about this, but I strongly suggest you to clearly delineate in your mind the distinction between metals of commerce, gold, silver, platinum, and the metals that keep you and your family protected, which is what I would call the metals of force. Yeah, you have all the gold and silver you want over here, but without these metals over here, you haven't got anything. There's a reason why Fort Knox, I don't care if you think there's any gold there or not, still, it's not the bloody point. There's a reason why Fort Knox is surrounded by the most advanced tanks, largest number in the entire Earth. Because the metals of commerce are protected by the metals of force. It's just that simple. Why has nobody ever talked about that? I've never heard anybody mention that before except for me. It's blatantly obvious, 100% undeniable. Just prepare yourself. This year is going to be a bumpy road with a lot of potholes. Hopefully not a cliff edge. Thank you for watching. If you want to contact me, my information is in the description below. Goodbye.